All right, here with Andy Gammons, who's the Executive Director of Admissions at Taylor University. Andy, first of all, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
No problem. It's my pleasure. Glad to be here.
And then, so I guess, first of all, let's just start Taylor University. Give us a little bit of information about Taylor, anything that you think students who want to come there need to know, and why students should consider Taylor.
For sure. Great. Yeah, again, thanks for the opportunity. Taylor University is a Christian interdenominational institution in Upland, Indiana, which is about halfway between Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Indianapolis. It's about an hour plus north of Indianapolis and about 45 minutes south of Fort Wayne. So we are a small Christian liberal arts college, which we're approximately 1,800 students on campus. We have over 100 different majors. Students that come to Taylor University are interested in a couple of different things. They want to pursue their academic interests in a rigorous community, and they want to do that in a Christ-centered Christian environment. So if that's your type of student, if that's you, by all means, it's a place that you have to check out. What I say is we do what we do at Taylor University better than anyone else in the world. And what we do here is a whole person education. So we're hoping that students grow for sure intellectually, spiritually, relationally, vocationally. We want them to be more of who Jesus Christ wants them to be at the end of their 4 years than when they came in. And we do that in an environment that is high voltage excitement. So you wouldn't necessarily picture that in the cornfields of Indiana, but that's why we tell students come and visit. It really is. There's stuff going on here for that whole person development 100% of the time. It's from traditions like Silent Night, which is definitely worth a YouTube, Google, and Mellon and Gord, Pick-a-Dates, lots of fun, exciting social stuff, to our chapel that meets 3 days a week, small classroom environments where you're going to dig into the topic matter that you're interested in, to outcomes where 99% of our students were in jobs or in graduate school within 6 months of graduation last year. So it's a place where students grow as whole people and launch into careers and lives of meaning.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Silent Night. That's always on SportsCenter.
It's always on SportsCenter. I'll give you a quick snapshot of what it is. It's a super fun. It's the last basketball game before Christmas vacation. Students come dressed up in crazy costumes, and they sleep out for about 2 days beforehand to get tickets so that they can get into the gym. And the crowd is completely silent until Taylor scores their 10th point, and then the gym erupts and people go crazy and rush the court. And then we finish the game by kind of joining hands and singing Silent Night. So and that is just one very small example of what happens here all the time. I always say that Taylor is a place where you will make memories that will last the rest of your life that you won't be ashamed of the next morning. and that is different from many college experiences today. And so I think that's where if that sounds like, oh man, intriguing, I really want to know more about that. But it's not just that. It's not just making these kinds of memories and having these types of experiences. It really is a rigorous education. 27 ACT, approximately 1,200 SAT are our averages. So students are academically gifted. Many of our students have over a 4.0 GPA. So it's an academically gifted group of students, but not just that, right? They're interested in way more than that. And again, that whole person development and education.
Yeah, that's kind of what you're looking for college. So you mentioned the SAT, the ACT, the scores for that 27 and 1,200 were kind of what you're looking at. Is that like the minimum, or is that just kind of what you really would like to see? And what else do you look for
Yeah, those were averages of our incoming class for fall 2022. So in other words, of course, an average, we admit students with significantly lower than that, and we admit students with significantly higher than that. We had a student that came in this past year with a perfect SAT score. So what I would tell students is, if you are interested in going deep academically, by all means apply. We have students that with below a 3.0 that get admitted to Taylor University, but we want to hear more about what you're interested in academically. So for sure, we're interested in a student that has a relationship with Jesus Christ and would articulate that they're a Christian. So that would be our first one. We're looking for students that are interested in academic rigor. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have that ACT, SAT score. It might be lower than that, and we have ways to help support students that have a lower ACT or SAT score. And then we would be looking for some sort of other involvement around extracurricular activities, and we give some space in our application to articulate that. So we want students that want to be at Taylor. And so if you come and visit, or if you hear even just this piece and it sounds interesting, by all means, I would say apply for admission.
Yeah. So as far as the schools go that you have, what are some of the majors that you're known for, or that you see as like shining stars at your school, and are there different admission requirements for those schools?
Yeah, that's a good question. There aren't any other admissions requirements. So it's one admissions requirement. Now, of course, engineering, computer science, those are two great areas with us, and they're looking for students that have excelled in math and science. There isn't an additional admissions requirement for them, but there might be some additional courses that you would have to take if you came in and you weren't at calculus level math, for instance. Right. But so computer science, engineering for sure. Education and business are probably our other two top majors, in psychology. So education, we have students in the classroom from their first semester and really helpful in how they understand the educational world. Business, we just opened a new finance lab. Finance is a large part of our business program, where they're investing $2 million of our institution's endowment, which is our savings account. So students, as a part of their curriculum, do that investing. And what's always great is they outperform the other investments that we have in our endowment. So real life experience, whether it's education, computer science are putting satellites and launching them to outer space. So lots of real world experience in any of our majors to help students, again, launch into those careers and lives of meaning.
Yeah, it's always amazing to me to see kind of some of the smaller schools, the way that they can you can get the interaction with the teachers so much more on a one-on-one basis for that.
For sure. And what I would say is, whether a student goes to a small liberal arts college like Taylor, and I've worked at lots of different schools across the country, or whether they go to a huge Big Ten school like Purdue, it's really up to the student, right? There are students that have a fully immersed, hands-on education here at Taylor University, and there are those students that do that at Purdue as well, that are getting everything that the educational institution has to offer. So that would be my main mode of advice, is whether you end up at a small institution, a large institution, it's up to you as a student to really dig in and immerse yourself in the educational offerings. But you're exactly right. There are lots of opportunities that a student has at a small institution to be involved in research opportunities, to be involved in internship opportunities that are really amazing. But the student for sure has to grab hold of those and be a part of shaping those in their education.
Yeah. Now, the last thing we got here is kind of the cost of college. So what is the cost to attend Taylor, and what kind of financial aid do you have available for students?
Yeah, so this is a really important one. Our sticker price, as I like to call it, last year was $47,534. So that's all in tuition, room and board, everything. Now, it's really important, though, to know that no one paid $47,534 when they came to college this fall. Every one of our students gets some sort of financial aid. So 100% of our students get some sort of financial aid. They get merit-based aid and need-based aid. So merit-based aid is based on a student's ACT score, SAT score, and GPA. And we look at those three components and determine what a student should be granted for merit-based aid. And that ranges from $10,000 to $20,000. So right off the top, you can get $20,000 in merit-based aid. There's also potential for a student to get another $2,000 in what we call our Christian Leadership and Service Scholarship. So, okay, so there's $22,000 potentially right off the top. So then there's need-based aid based on a student's FAFSA, or free application for federal student aid. So this past year, the middle 50th percentile of students paid between $21,000 and $26,000 for Taylor University. So that's all in costs. So that's tuition, room and board, and everything. So if you're middle of the road type of student, and from a Taylor University perspective, because again, I gave those scores earlier, even our middle 50th percentile are really gifted academic students. So you're looking at between 21 and 26,000. Some students, about 25% paid more than that, and about 25% paid less than that. So that's what the average all-in costs are at Taylor. So that's about, and Google really does a great job with cost after aid. So if you Google Taylor University, over on the right-hand side, it says cost after financial aid, and it gives our cost at about $25,000. And you can Google Indiana University, and it gives their costs at about $15,000. Mm-hmm. So that's a helpful tool now that we have to compare real costs. And so, yeah, Taylor University is going to be about $10,000 a year more than a place like IU.
Yeah, but you've got, like you talked about, with the 100% placement rate in some of your majors, and the right, just smaller classes and everything.
So what I would tell you is one of the things that you pay for at Taylor is 92% of our students who are freshmen come back for their sophomore year. That's a retention rate. So retention rate, if you ask other institutions, what's your retention rate? Ours is 92% this past year. That's really unheard of. And so that means that students are going to come back and stay at the same institution. They're not going to be transferred around to other institutions. They're going to graduate on time. They're going to graduate within 4 years. Those are really important stats, because even if it seems like a lower cost, if you're not graduating, if you're transferring around to different institutions, then that cost does become substantially larger.
Yeah, definitely. With that, and taking all the different classes multiple times because they don't transfer. Yeah, that'll get you.
So that retention rate is really important. Students at Taylor University come, they want to be here. Nobody rolls up to Upland, Indiana on accident. So we always say our students are here on purpose. And that's a huge part of being at a place like Taylor. Everybody who's here is decided to be here. We're not the cheapest, we're not the closest, we're not the one that just happened to work out. And so that's a really important piece of what we do.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Andy, I appreciate your time. Give me one last pitch. Anything else you can think of that you didn't get to say, or give me some last scoop here on Taylor.
Yeah, what I would say is, if you're a student that wants to go hard after Jesus Christ, go hard after your academics, and go hard after a bunch of students that are really having a great time, it's Taylor University. So come check us out, taylor.edu, and come and visit. That's the best thing to do. See it for yourself.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Andy. Andy Gammons, Executive Director of Admissions at Taylor University.
Yeah, thanks.